When I left school, I wondered why I couldn't vote. I could buy cigarettes, have sex, and, most importantly, sign up for the armed forces, and face the possibility of being ordered to kill and die for my country, a country which was not prepared to let me have a say in who ran the government. In fact, the government that was elected the very day I finished my secondary education would go on to take us into an illegal war, where someone my age might have to fight, and possibly someone less privileged with fewer alternatives to a military career than I was lucky enough to have. Primary and secondary education are all that are required by law, and you do not need to attend college or become a professional in order to vote, and rightly so. You don't even need a job to vote, and rightly so. So surely graduating school, mandatory anyway, should be all one needs to prove oneself capable of voting. Now, I think there is no reason for any requirement, save geographic location and possibly entitlement to live there, to vote to elect your councillor, EU representatives, local MP, mayor of your city, or your government. It tends to be widely accepted that there are certain things one must achieve at a certain age, usually 18, to be trusted to do. And this includes taking part in the democratic process, but is there actually a reason? You need look no further than YouTube to see one can be 15 and think like AwesomeRants, or be 30 and think like BionicDance. Am I suggesting an aptitude test for the right to vote? No. That would of course be horrendous. I don't think there should be any requirements at all, and even think that prisons should have ballot boxes for reasons I shall save for another video. My basic argument is twofold. 1. If you are taking the time and effort to register to vote, and do so, then you are surely sufficiently aware and mature to be allowed to. I am not concerned by the danger of 5-year-olds electing a TellyTubby, because it would never happen, any more than an infant revolution or cuji-cudji coup. 2. By respecting the young instead of condescending to them, you are more likely to encourage interest. An American friend of mine recalls the story of some teenagers tearing down Bush posters in one election, and part of the media response was, if you don't like him, vote against him. A minor cannot. That's the point. And the young are at their best when they feel respected by and included in society. What if lack of life experience means they make the wrong decision? If you think there are wrong decisions in this context, then do you really like democracy? The potential objections I can think of are these. 1. Children will just vote however their parents do. Possibly, but it is equally likely teenagers will vote against whatever their parents believe. And these things, as with the point about life experience, are not a question of a calendar date, and you do not gradually acquire greater voting power as you age, at least not individually. 2. Children could be coerced, manipulated, or bribed to vote a certain way. Yes, they could, and so could anyone. Has nobody ever been pressured by their spouse to vote a certain way? Also, ballots are secret. You never heard of a kid disobeying their parents and lying about it? 3. The young aren't interested in voting anyway. I believe I have already addressed that. See above. 4. It wouldn't make any difference anyway. To make the case that it would make a difference, I will cite the popular British children's news programme Newsround, which once held a mock general election identical to the one that was about to happen, bar one difference. Only subjects under the age of 18 were allowed to vote, and with no lower limit. As far as I recall, Labour won that election, when in the real election the Conservatives got back in again. In a world where only minors could vote, Neil Kinnock became Prime Minister for at least one term, and the Tories served one less. From the mouths of babes. I would argue that this is all very important, given the disproportionate voting power of old age pensioners in countries such as the UK and the US. This is not representative. Another point about the news round election, which again refers to earlier, is that when given the opportunity and essentially asked what they thought, school children did voluntarily participate in a vote. Alright, really more of a poll, but I think the point still stands. There are reasons why there has to be an age limit, even if sometimes arbitrary and unfair on some, for drinking, smoking, driving, sexual acts, and military service, and not sending them out to work before they are even fully literate, good move. But lacking the right to vote does not protect in any way. It merely prevents people from having a say in, among other things, their own future, possibly leading them to leaving school feeling disillusioned already, and arguably contributes to the feeling of being undervalued and stifled, and of isolation many young people feel. It's the idea that society is protected from the whims and fancies of the young, and therefore innocent, naive, or idealistic. Young people are part of society, and also surely a stereotype is a stereotype, and if people need to be protected from the votes and opinions of others, then why not outlaw adults voting for the BNP on the grounds that enough votes for them would harm portions of our population? Again, do you like democracy or not? Please let me know what you think in the comment section, or make a video response. Ow.